welcome to the RH panel. We are the advanced business panel in this conference, as it has been historical. We keep calling it the RH panel because we do have RH authors, but it has always been the 6 to 7 figure authors who are going to talk about their business practices specifically throughout the last year. And these amazing authors are here not just because they're 6 to 7 figure authors, but also because they each had a different strategy. So we wanted to show different strategies and talk about the specific different business strategies. So let me give you a quick introduction here as to who is who, so you can what kind of things you can expect to hear from them. But first, a round of applause, because clearly you're here because you're on an advanced track and you're doing something right. So good job, guys. So Alisha Williams, and with her book, We Are Loved, Alisha is is a 6-figure author she is our fast writer on the panel, so you'll hear about her releasing like a book a month, but she does not do paid advertising. So we're really going to talk to her about also what the heck do you do with a backlist of books when you've got 12 new ones a year, and how do you work that? Now, Britt Andrews, who we all know for Emerald Lakes, which is a paranormal small town reverse harem with a curvy heroine, and her name has just been around for years, and 3 years specifically since Emerald Lakes came out. So Britt's superpower is since Emerald Lakes came out 3 years ago, she's released 1 book a year. And she has a full-time business. So we're going to talk to her about how do you run a complete full-time, and I mean like with full-time staff. So how do you run a career that keeps growing towards 7 figures when you're releasing 1 book a year? We have Melissa Storm, who's also known by about 25 other names. Now, many of you know Melissa Storm because she runs a 7-figure business in terms of Facebook ads. So clearly we've selected something for, a contrast here, some people who don't do ads and people have their own agency. Now, today, Melissa has done a talk on Facebook, and you can find her elsewhere, but today we're going to focus on her as a writer, as opposed to her role of her business for other writers. And she, as this is an advanced panel, that means we're not talking about a 1-book wonder where somebody wrote their first book. We're talking about sustainable careers. And what's amazing about Melissa is this year, she will tell you, she had to pivot because sometimes after writing even for a decade, something happens and we have to change for personal reasons. I burned out on RH a few years ago, and I had to write some romantic suspense before being back in RH. So how do you maintain your 6-figure income? And what do you do when suddenly what you know you should be doing, you can't? And Melissa will talk to us about that. Reese Rivers is well known for Dance Butterfly Dance, and this duology has hit number 2 in the U.S. whole Amazon store, right? Number 1 in some other countries, right? I think it was the UK. No, Australia and Canada. I got the English-speaking part right, so partial credit. Any teachers in the room? Partial credit. And she did, and I'm not going to spoil her reveal because there was something very specific that she did in 2023, and also big congratulations because she just passed the 500,000 mark for the year. Yeah. So we are gonna talk to her about there was a specific thing that she did in 2023. So with these authors, now we do have a tradition on this panel, and this tradition is in paying homage to reverse harem and romance genre before we go into the hardcore business. We started with a lightning round of universal fantasies or butter. These are the things in romance we always talk about respecting the reader's fantasies, right? Respecting the journey and respecting the reader. And there's certain things that we found really resonate with romance readers, and you may have heard it called butter or universal fantasy tropes. And so I'm going to go around and ask these ladies to share something, their favorite one or one that they use in their writing a lot. Alisha. The mic should be on.
Is it on? Okay. Touch her and die.
Touch her and die.
The men don't see her flaws as flaws.
Men don't see her flaws as flaws.
Members of marginalized populations finding their power.
Marginalized people finding power.
They show or tell her she's enough just as she is.
You are enough.
F you to the establishment.
F you to the establishment.
Strong alpha protectors.
Strong alpha protectors. Ooh, delicious.
Fixing a broken world.
Fix a broken world.
They see past the mask she wears to who she truly is and loves her for it.
Past the mask. You have masks in your books, don't you? You've got masks.
Kind of a thing with me.
She's got masks. All right. So let's jump into the questions for our panelists specifically. Okay, Reese. Can I start with you?
Oh, sure.
All right, Reese. So, what you've been writing for a while. This isn't like so, but 2023 something was a pivotal year for you. What happened? What'd you do?
Okay, so I have 25 books. I pivoted 8 books ago to a pen name with romance, and specifically reverse harem. Started slow, started building my audience, but I tried to be really consistent with my writing, so didn't matter what I wrote, they would know it was me. And it was actually 2022 that...
Oh, correct. All right, 2022. All right, so what happened in 2022, a year ago?
I dialed in hardcore to research, reader research specifically. So I would spend 2 to 4 hours a day combing probably 10 to 12 Facebook reader groups, reading every single post every single day. What do they want? What don't they want? What do they like? What don't they like? What's their yuck? What's their yum? Specifically, what are they asking for that they're not being served? So if they're saying, I want this, but they're getting the same 4 books again and again, that is a niche that they are hungry for. So I dialed into that really, really hard. And then part of that 2 to 4 hours a day was then I would go to the top 100. I would find the romance books.
Top 100 on Facebook?
My bad. Top 100 Amazon. She told me to say that. No, in the top 100 on Amazon, find a romance book. And this doesn't apply just to RH. This is MF, any romance, right? And then I would read their reviews. Not just the bad ones, but the good ones too. And I was looking for a very specific thing. I loved it, but I wish. Anytime I find the words, but I wish, in a comment or a review, that's what they want. So then I tried really hard to make sure I was putting that into my books, because now I'm serving them their wish.
Now, is that, you actually had a draft of one of these books and then you went back, right?
Yeah, so last year I was here, I've been to every one of these, but last year I was here and I had already written this, but I hadn't published it yet. And then I went to Alex's butter panel, and the light just went off in my head.
The RH panel.
Was it the RH?
It was the RH panel. It was the panel you're on right now.
It was Alex's panel. I don't even see it as it's hers. Okay?
It was life-changing.
It really was. So after hearing about what they talked about last year, I went home and I added probably another 15 to 20,000 words of content, and it was all butter. It was all making those connections between each of the guys deeper, those swoony moments, and then I published.
So I love that. So you had a completed manuscript, and what you told me it took you about like a couple of weeks to do a full edit like that?
Yeah.
So those couple of weeks is of going back and with a very specific, with a very specific research strategy is what made a huge difference in matching the book, in hitting the right spot with the audience.
Yeah.
So dude, huge congratulations. And welcome to the panel. Yeah. Woo. All right. Now, I'm actually I'm actually gonna skip over to Britt because we talked about Reese just told us about how she edited her book to really hit those tropes, and she put out this book. But here's what I want to know. So Britt wrote an awesome series 3 years ago, and then she's been putting out one book last year and one book this year. And with all of this, you have a full-time business manager and an office space. What the heck does your business manager do when you're putting out one book?
So she handles, all of my email correspondence that's coming in. I have a fully functioning direct sales website.
So you mean like you just made a Shopify site?
It's not Shopify, it's directly through my website. And I don't do like print on demand or whatever. I have a local businesswoman who has her own business making like epoxy tumblers and like glittery, cutesy things. And I found her by random in a Facebook community group, converted her into a super fan. And now she just comes up with all of these merch ideas on her own, and it's less work for me, which I love. So yeah, I've basically recruited her.
So your business model is, it's not I write a book and sell on Amazon. It's your business model is you're now actually running your own company with inventory.
Yes.
and the logistics involved in that. That is what requires a full-time.
Absolutely.
person.
Yes.
Now, okay, I find it very stressful to hire people, and I never know. So I just want to kind of level set, because you said she's your best friend. Is this just a best friend who helps me out, or is this like?
No, like I legitimately stole her from her marketing job full time, and I said, "How much do they pay you?" She said, $52,000 a year. I said, "Sweet, I'll pay you $54,000 a year. You come work for me." And we've been working together since March, and it's honestly like been the best decision that I've made.
Amazing. That is awesome. And I also love hearing it's a very, very different business model, and it's not even a Shopify model. So you took a product,
Yes.
and you've turned it into merchandising, and you turned it into selling things that are not the book itself.
Yeah, and I don't sell my ebooks because I'm in KU. So this is all signed paperback editions, covers that are exclusive to my website that you can only get there. So that really helps drive, the excitement for my readers.
It is. And talking about, driving excitement to readers and talking to readers, let me jump over to you. So Alisha, you don't advertise and you write quickly. So can you talk me through, let's say, we're talking a book a month. So let's say you've got this book that you're writing and it's going to release in a month. So I guess you started it yesterday. Talk me through, how would you get the word out to readers that it exists? What's the process?
So pretty much after I'm done roughly around the first 3 to 5 chapters,
So tomorrow.
I'll start pulling teasers and stuff, and I will make TikToks with them. That's more recently, but that is something that I started doing. And then I would make teasers and post them on Instagram. I shared them with my street team, and they would get the word out and get kind of like the announcement, like, this book is now what we're focusing on, what's coming out. I do a lot of takeovers and parties, so that will now be added to that type of promotion, and that'll be my main focus pretty much until the book is done and released, and then I'll start on the next one.
So I think we talk about this every year, that you're always going, there's going to be a cost. You're always going to pay. So she's not doing a pay-to-play ads, but that means she's making TikToks for every single of those books. She is going on Instagram, did you say?
Yeah.
And then on takeover parties,
Yeah.
and you keep running a street team? Because I'm already tired, and you've been talking for like 30 seconds. And mind you, you started this after writing only a few chapters of the book.
Yeah, I'd have to say the biggest thing would be my street team, because they also have like their own bookstagrams and stuff like that. So they'll share it on Instagram and TikTok, and so that gets out there. So it's multiple different ways of getting views.
Now, when you put a video out on TikTok, how do you know how long do you give it, and what's your expectation of a good number of views for that video?
Well, since I only have about almost 5,000 followers, I don't expect a huge viewing, but I usually try to get about a little over 1,000. And if I don't see those, then I post about 3 times a day for a few days. And if I don't see the numbers go up, I'll just pull another teaser and make another video.
So as a new teaser from a new book, I get about 3 days to get myself regularly about 1,000 to 2,000 views before I get canned?
For that teaser, yeah. but if it doesn't, usually I make the TikTok videos first, and if they don't do good, then I just go and post it on Instagram.
Instagram Reels, and you make a new TikTok video.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's for a book every month.
Yeah.
Okay. Switching gears a bit. So, Melissa, can advanced panel reality time. Speaking as an author, what happened in, I guess, the last year? What happened in the last year? Why were you not writing for a large part of the year? And how'd you fix it?
Hello. I may say some controversial things, but I love you all. In the past year, my now 10-year-old came out as queer and non-binary, and there were some mental health things that went with that. And the two of us together have started a therapy journey. And I had a lot of trauma packed up that I ignored, that got to come and be in the front and center of my life because I love my child and will do anything to help them. I'm still learning the pronouns, but I'm really working hard on it. And my trauma was front and center, and I like to write about my trauma, especially in RH. The tropes I like: broken world, marginalized populations. And I wrote a book I cared deeply about, and it did not sell well, and it really hurt my feelings. And that was not great, since I was already mentally fragile at this point. So I said, I'm not going to write the second book in the duet. Nobody wants this RH with FF, dark dystopia, abuse. Nobody wants this book. I shouldn't keep writing it. Also, I cry while writing this book. Let's do something happy. And every time I tried to move on, I couldn't. And so for 10 months, I wrote nothing. And eventually, my therapist helped me realize that I had to finish this duet because I had to fix the broken world in the book, since I can't fix it in the real world. And it was really hard and very vulnerable, especially being a businesswoman, knowing that I'm going to write a book and it's just going to be for me, and there's a good chance it's not going to sell. And people might say things that hurt my feelings, that FF is gross, and that makes me mad, because that's my child, and I'm a member of the LGBT community as well, which most people don't But I wrote it with the help of my therapist, and here comes the controversial part, with the help of ChatGPT. I could not write this book. I was so broken and vulnerable and hurt, but I knew if I did not write it, I would not write again. And I've been writing a full-time writer since 2009. And so I am a Clifton Strengths #1 achiever learner combo. And it gave me something to look forward to learning this technology, because as I was starting it, it really sucked. And it took a lot of work to make it not suck, but it was easier to have the wrong words on the page, and I could say, this is not right, I'm gonna tell you how the story goes, than to have no words on the page. And now I'm writing again, and I actually am reading the book with my therapist, and we talk about it, and the book tells me stuff that I didn't know I knew. And I'm like, that's so smart, where did that come from? Apparently I knew it. So that was my journey. I hope I answered the right question.
Two things I want to, there's a reason I went to Melissa last in this lineup, right? Two things I want to point out. One is when she says she's a #1 achiever in Clifton Strengths, if there's somebody who still doesn't know Clifton Strengths, to explain, achievers are people every day your value and worth is calculated internally by what you have achieved. And that's every day, not just Monday through Friday. So for an achiever, to not be able to achieve is devastating. And for an achiever to write a book thinking it's not going to achieve the right numbers is incredibly hard. I also want to point out that in case we have any new writers in the room, because this is an advanced panel, something I want to make very clear, that this is what we as advanced writers have to embrace, and this is very different from us talking to new writers and saying, look, if you want to write a book of your heart, write a book of your heart, just realize you're writing it for yourself and not for a business. So if you're making a business, we recommend you study the market. That is what we say to new writers, and that is absolutely correct. As an advanced track, we are here for a career, and that means we run into things that we're gonna have to deal with. And we're gonna make decisions that are gonna move, that have to keep us moving, and our own mental health. So I want you to notice that difference between how we talk to new writers and how we talk to advanced writers who are in this room. Now, this, from a business though, bringing you back to business, but you still maintained your 6-figure income. If this all is happening and you're dealing with this, what did you do? What did you do that your income didn't suffer for it?
I'm weird, and I write weird books, and I break all the conventions and tropes. Even though I know better than to do that, I still do it because I'm defiant, and I also like F you to the establishment. And since I couldn't write new books, I already had over 100 of them between my pen names, and I've gotten very into translations to the point of 70% of my income is non-English speaking. And the really great thing for my RH and paranormal romance is the French just get me. I mean, they invented menage a trois, they're into it, but even when I break all the rules, the French are like, bon, let's do this.
So it was translations.
Translations. I'm in French, German, Italian, Spanish, and I have my first Japanese translation that I have to figure out what the hell I'm going to do with it when I get home.
So, guys, notice she ran into trouble with writing, right? Now, she's been writing for over a decade. So while she's figuring that out, she takes a track of what can I do with the inventory I have that uses a different part of my brain and does the translations. And you have, if anyone has additional follow-up on translations, I think, do you have a talk on translations coming up?
I'm talking about translations tomorrow afternoon. See you there.
All right.
I have a related point too, and I know I answered the questions out of order. I really wanted to tell you guys about my fragile mental health. You probably noticed the anxiety support dog. But in addition to translations, I took the books I already had that weren't selling, and I rebranded them. I changed covers. I changed titles. I changed pen names. That's why the wrong name is on these books. But I'm not afraid to change up and use what I already have, because because a book is finished doesn't mean it's done.
Yeah. Oh, ooh, that's a nice snappy quote. Because a book is finished doesn't mean it's done. Guys, again, advanced track, we have backlists and thinking, what's the plan if something goes wrong? If something happens in my life and I cannot write, and my plan has been, I make money because I have a new release. Start thinking about it now. What are you going to do if something happens and you need a break from writing? And that's something, it can be external, or your brain may need a break, especially if you've been pushing yourself hard. And public service announcement. A lot of times we think that if we only reach a certain point, then everything would be okay and everything will be happy. If only I make my first 6 figures, I'll become a 6-figure author, then I'll be able to relax and be happy. No. Yeah, if only I get to, $250,000 gross, then I can relax and be happy. No. Guys, have you had thoughts that if you were going to reach a certain point, then life is going to be awesome? Yeah. Was it when you reached that point? No. Okay, so.
It hurts more when you fall from higher.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Markets change, things in your mind change, and if your plan is that I am just hustling until I reach this point, and once I reach it, my problems are going to go away, they will not. They will hurt more, and you will be more exhausted. Make a plan. This is an example of, I don't know, knowing she's strategic, she probably made it on the spot. For someone like me, I got it in my head, but this career is hard and it takes a toll. And speaking of making money on things other than just writing a book, you made, $100,000 on a small little project you did this year? And what was that small little project?
So I did a Kickstarter campaign. I started it at the end of August, and it was open for 14 days. It's for my Demons of Port Black duet. It's a special edition, hardcover, both books in one hardback. And I haven't even written the second book yet.
But you're getting there.
I'm getting there. So I released the first book about 18 months ago now, and people really, really want this damn book. So much so that over the span of 14 days, my Kickstarter hit $96,000 and almost 800 backers.
Yeah. Guys, at least anyone think that all they have to do is splash something up on Kickstarter? Let me remind you that she has a business that she is running with her fans that are already have been spending years also buying books specifically from her in her shop that like special things. Yes. Okay, so let's level set, because it's like you watch the Olympics and they do this jump and you're like, wow, man, I wish I could do that. And then you realize all the effort you'd have had to put in to make that jump, and you're like, I don't know, maybe I'm okay without that jump and I can eat hamburgers. So just realize that there is a lot of work that goes behind the flash, a flash like that, before you can have people paying you $100,000 to buy a book that does not yet exist.
And especially just, I don't know, it's like they really showed up, and it's very humbling, and just sometimes you need, no matter what level you're at, you're always going to have that feeling of I'm not good enough. How the hell am I sitting here? What is happening? And everyone as a person, like, we need to know that there's always people that are behind us, who believe in us, who understand that we are people and we have lives and our own struggles. So it's just like, it gives me goosebumps, like, talking about it. Like, just, yeah, it is. Like, it's been life-changing, and that's because of my readers. So I will put in the hard work for them because they changed my life. Yeah.
You're awesome. I know, I want to clap again. Now, Piggy, in terms of, again, in terms of projects and selling things you already have, Reese, I understand that you had some very lucrative events that you went to. Can you give us a quick overview of what kind of money we're talking about you made at events, and what in the world did you sell there?
Yep. So I did my first round of sightings this year. I started in Canada. I did one there that was a little bit smaller. And then I did Babe in Australia, and I did Rare in London. And I did over 20,000 revenue at each event.
And what'd you sell?
So I'm going to stand up just to show you guys this, because I think this is really important. Right now, signings are huge. In case you haven't seen all the ones that sell out in 7 minutes. Thanks. So this is my butterfly box. It comes with swag. Okay? It's got my branding. It's got the tagline to the series. That has both books in it. Okay? So that was the top seller. Actually, that works, because then I don't have to carry it around. That was the top seller. Right now, our readers want special editions.
It's raised. It's like
insane.
if you touch it, it's raised. Keep going, sorry.
It's embossed. Yeah, that's what she said. It's embossed. It actually also came with a book sleeve. Don't do that, okay? Because they just get wrecked in shipping. They're just a waste of money. Don't put a book sleeve on these things. I've thrown out so many. Anyways, I did a limited 500 print over with one supplier, and it ended up being around between 35,000 and 40,000 in sales just on the special edition.
Did you run a Kickstarter?
No.
No, you just did a direct buy.
Just did it myself. I funded it myself.
Thank you.
So yeah, do special editions. I don't know if this is. I'm gonna sit back down.
Actually, from that, I'm
You done?
given the time, I'm going to move to a quick question, to a new question round. And if we have time, I'd love to. There's one more thing I want to ask you, but let me time-wise. Here's my question: what is something? And we're looking for kind of like a concise answer on this. What is something that you did over the last year that either turned out to be a lot more difficult than you thought, or didn't work the way you thought, or like a problem that you ran into that you did not expect?
Me? Yep.
Please.
Again, it goes right back to those special editions. I did them through China, which I will 100% do again. And I will tell you really quickly that the cost of this box, so the outside, the inside, the swag, and the shipping to get it where it needed to go, because it went to 3 continents, worked out to $18.75 US per box, and I sold them for $65.
But what didn't work?
Okay, so when I found the printer to do them, I went through Alibaba, which is fabulous. I didn't take the top quote, I didn't take the bottom quote, I took the middle quote, and I had like 20% wrecked when it came to me. So going forward, I will speak with other authors who have done specials with China. You just cannot get this stuff printed low enough in the United States or anywhere else to make that kind of profit.
Now, just because I know, especially people talking special editions, I got to ask, was this printer CC?
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't CC. Do you think it's a problem that we could avoid if we either ask or pay extra for shrink wrap? Unknown? Unknown?
I don't think so. Yeah, I think
Just
it should just
vet.
come that way.
Yeah, got to vet the printer. Okay.
You're not going to ask the question again. I'm
The
just gonna
question,
go.
the
Okay.
question is what's something that either didn't work or was harder or unexpected this year?
Thank you. I just wanted your permission.
Please, I like her.
I took a big gamble, and usually that's how I've made my career, high risk, high reward. But I took a gamble that didn't pay off and really sunk me where the book that of my heart that is completely weird and not to market, I was like, this is the best book I've ever written. I'm going to immediately translate it into all my languages. And that cost a lot. The Europeans like it better than America does, so that did give me some validation. But then I was really stuck that I had to write the second half of the duet because all my markets were waiting on it, and I had a lot of sunk costs.
And you are an achiever, so we all know how fun it is for an achiever to not be able to write that book.
I'm publishing the thing as soon as I get back from Vegas. So
All right, Britt.
So I overcommitted this summer to 4 weeks of international travel, and that was really dumb. Yeah.
Didn't you end up having to not cancel an event?
I started in Australia for Babe. I then flew to New Zealand. Then I flew to London for the SPS live show. And then I flew to Mallorca, Spain for the Mastermind conference. And then I was supposed to go back to London to do Rare. And I had to pull the plug because I was totally done.
Guys, we're talking about a major conference that she had to pull a plug on. This isn't like a minor event. This is a major event. Yeah. So we have limits. We push them, right? We do that whole thing of if I just have a Kickstarter that makes me $100,000 in a book I haven't written yet, I'll be all set.
It's a trap.
It's a trap.
And for me, it would be, I have multiple series going on at once. So I try to, because I release every month, usually, I try to not have too many months go in between the second and the third book so that the readers keep interested. So I try to have a very vague schedule, but then I released the first book in one of my new series, and it did a lot better than I thought it was going to do. And I had the choice to do the next book that I was planning on doing or go with what the readers were demanding. So I had to kind of rethink my schedule.
And is it my schedule? Am I right that all your books are already on pre-order?
Yeah.
So she put a book on pre-order. She had
I have
9. A writing schedule, a tight writing schedule, where she had to hit all her pre-orders, and the market didn't do what she expected it to do, and she had to tell readers that they weren't getting the book they were expecting because other readers were going to get another book.
Yeah.
And did it survive?
It did.
It did survive.
It was just very stressful, and I had to
Yeah.
rethink everything. I mean, it
So-
ended up to be good, but also.
But it did not end your career
No.
to tell your readers, you know what, I know that this was the expectation, and this is why we're shifting.
Yeah, because my readers are pretty amazing, and they know that they're going to get something from me. So
You've built up their trust.
Yeah.
Because you've got, 10 books out now?
I got 22.
22 books?
Yeah,
So one a year, one a month for 2 years.
pretty much.
Yeah, 22 books. So it takes, right, 22 books. So she's building up. She's built up a trust of that so that when she had to pivot, she could. Now, I want to leave a couple of minutes for questions, but also in the spirit of sometimes you need to shift and you need to pivot. None of the authors here write, as far as I know, clean romance, but in case they decide to write clean romance, I wanted to give them something to help them get started. This is soap. Yours is blue.
I'll give this to my husband.
There you go.
I'm sorry, I'm allergic to clean.
She's allergic to clean.
The detail on this is top tier.
All right, guys, we have 4 minutes. And I'm between, do I ask Alisha? Do we have, I want to grab some questions from the audience and do our best. What is, if it's for a specific author, let me know. If not, I'll choose the best one to answer. Go ahead.
From the Facebook group, there is a question about best practices for marketing RH when Amazon is like, nah, nah.
Practices for marketing. So I think there have been some marketing ideas here, but let's go to Alisha, because specifically you market not only your new releases, and you've spoken about marketing, but you also have a backlist you market. So can you please talk to us about marketing?
Regarding the question, I would say with reverse harem being not always liked by Amazon, going to other platforms like TikTok or Instagram and really promoting things there.
And how do you promote your backlist of 22 books?
I do a lot of takeovers, so I try to incorporate them as best as I can. Like if they're completed series, I'll add it to one post to grab attention. And if I also have a few series that are interconnecting, so if somebody's reading from one book, I'll put in the back of the book like, hey, if you want to know more about these characters, go read this book.
So, and Britt, in fact, when you wrote Emerald Lakes, you specifically worked in a character that is getting their own series, right?
Yes.
In order for continuity, right?
Yes.
So don't do what I did, which is my characters were like orphans with no family until you discovered. All right, 2 minutes. Yes, I will. You can tell me the question. I will repeat it through the microphone. How do you, now do we have other people also have street teams? Anyone work street teams? Okay, so let's do a quick, I'm gonna go back and forth. Give me something that you use to keep a street team motivated.
I offer them prizes, so someone who posts the most gets it.
Offer a prize.
I do newsletter features for whoever, goes out of their way that month, put them in my newsletter, get all their links out there so, they get more supporters, and it goes both ways.
So you highlight specific team members in your newsletter.
Yes.
Any other quick ideas for keeping a street team motivated?
I have a group chat with my street team. It's called Britt's Weenies.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't create that. I don't even know where it came from. But I'll just pop in, randomly, and that really just goes a long way as a reader, because I was a reader before a writer, and when an author would go out of their way to acknowledge me or like a comment or reply to a comment, I never ever forgot that feeling. And so that's what I want to give to my readers, and especially my street team, who they don't have to do this for me. They do this because they believe in me, and I want to say thank you.
I want to point out that this is expensive, and I don't mean in terms of money, I mean in terms of time and emotional engagement. And you make a decision because that is one huge way, right? We have two ladies here who are really engaging a street team. We have Melissa, who is much more separated, and she leans into pay to play more. And
I'm afraid of my readers. I feel empowered being around other authors. I feel really in my zone, but having to sell myself, every time I plan a live event, I always cancel it because I am terrified.
Guys, it's not to say that there isn't a right and a wrong way to do things, but there's a right and a wrong way for every author, right? Yes. So you have to find the right, you're an advanced group. You will have tried certain things, and you will know what's right for you, and you need to lean in what's right for you. There are wrong things for you, but there are right things for you. Guys, please find our panelists afterwards. I am being given that it's the end. Talk to us. Yeah, talk to us, and thank you.